My name is Ray Dinkins. I use he, him, his, they, them, theirs pronouns. I am the executive director at Women's Crisis Support Team, which is a small nonprofit domestic and sexual violence intervention, prevention, and safe shelter agency in Josephine County. We are a rural county with small communities kind of isolated and broken up all around Josephine County, and our agency serves the whole county with vital services to help folks who are both experiencing and fleeing domestic and sexual violence, as well as prevention services, mostly youth-based and pretty heavily school-based. So the landscape is pretty rural, and the goal of my conversation with you today is not to really share so much about the work that we do, because I know a lot of you do similar work or the same work. It's about how we made violence prevention a thing in Josephine County. Because I am the executive director, but I started as the preventionist here at WCST about 15 years ago and did 12 years of leadership in the prevention program. We didn't have a prevention program when I was hired, and I didn't really have a sense of what that was going to look like. So we just jumped, as many of us do, into we'll go into the schools and we'll work with young people and we'll teach them healthy relationships and this will be great. And that was awesome. But throughout the years, we had many supportive and supporting roles come through our agency through the form of AmeriCorps members or some of our early hires that just inspired us to want to do and be more. But to do and be more prevention takes more money. And everybody knows that prevention is not one of those ongoing, especially violence prevention. We're not the recipients of ongoing federal grants and dollars that we can just pour into our prevention efforts in order to minimize the effects of violence in our community. And so in addition to doing the school-based violence prevention classes, of which when we approached the schools, we required that they integrate us into the day of the student. So we were able to pull students from class once a week for the purpose of engaging in violence prevention education. But we were wanting to do more, and we knew that the county had a prevention coordinator. Every county has a prevention coordinator. And so we wanted to sit in on the county prevention coordinator meetings. And the focus of a lot of that was on drug and alcohol prevention, substance abuse prevention, suicide prevention, all these other very important programs in our communities that need support. But no one was talking about violence prevention at all. And we wanted to get a seat at the table. I can remember going into some of those meetings and they're like, why are you guys here? And we're like, oh, we're here for violence prevention. And nobody really made those connections or we didn't have this common language, or that we were on that level. And so through the county prevention coordinator, we learned about the Certified Prevention Specialist certification that Oregon offers through MACBO. We decided that we would approach the Mental Health and Addiction Certification Board of Oregon and become Certified Prevention Specialists. This was quite an extensive commitment. The Certified Prevention Specialist certification requires 150 prevention education hours, 2,000 supervised experience hours, 120 hours of experiential learning, ethics, national criminal history check, a lot of inputs. Fortunately, the county prevention coordinator was willing to partner with us and help us get through that, providing some classes and some activities. The very first thing that happened was we were given the book, Substance Abuse Prevention, the Intersection of Science and Practice. And in the first chapter is this graph. And what this did for us is it helped us recognize and communicate that the risk factors connected to substance abuse, delinquency, teen pregnancy, depression and anxiety, school dropout rates, all of these risk factors were interrelated and connected to violence. And so if we were working to reduce violence in our communities, then we were also working to reduce many of these same adolescent behaviors. And it gave us common language and that spark to collaborate. So we were able to immediately find common ground with folks who were doing work in other prevention programming and other prevention activities, and find a space for us to connect and to relate, knowing that when we're doing this prevention, we're also preventing these other behaviors. And so it was exciting for us to just be able to use this tool alone to find a space at the table. And you can see the other beautiful part for us was when you're doing violence prevention work, you're actually addressing all the risk factors across all the other adolescent behaviors that we would like to see stop. Another key component of the certified prevention specialist trainings was exposure to SAMHSA's strategic prevention framework. And a lot of us use a lot of different models and a lot of different programs to organize and coordinate our prevention efforts. But this gave us the first real picture of what moving beyond just working in the classroom with educating students, how could we build prevention programs and activities that reached across our community and had a comprehensive approach. The strategic prevention framework, they call it the SPIF, was our first look at assessment, building capacity, doing a community needs assessment before you start, planning, implementation, evaluation. All of these components really help take our prevention projects and activities to a whole nother level. And now all of a sudden, more than just those folks who come into the classroom every now and then, we were putting on major community activities, student-centered, student-led, student-driven, but integrating all of these particular components to those prevention activities. The other piece that really spoke to us through the Certified Prevention Specialist training was the social development strategy model for working our prevention program. Notice nowhere on here does it have like school-based violence prevention education. And that was our primary function. And this really helped us see like we needed to move beyond just the education of the students, but provide opportunities, skills, and recognition that are connected to their individual characteristics. So we know that students come to us with resiliency, with a desire to be in community, with a desire to do good work in the community. And so we started to tap that. And all of a sudden we had students who were wanting to go out in the community and do activities and events and engage the community in violence prevention activities. They wanted to go to the city council and the county commissioners and talk policy with them. They wanted to engage in a lot of these efforts. And so we were giving them opportunities to that, building the skills to allow them to do that, and then getting them the recognition in our community. And all of a sudden we saw them coming together in ways that we had never seen. We often say that we like to reduce violence and build community, but that's really that bonding and that attachment and that commitment to each other and to our programs is where we really started to see some of that take root. And now, you know, in hindsight, we did a lot of this following certain models and certain programs, but you know, some of those students 15 years ago are grown men now, and they're like, dude, I was in that. I was part of that. We did this activity where they took over the bridge in our town over the Rogue River, I was part of that group that did that play in the community where we went out in the community and did this big play. And we know that they have solidified those beliefs and have set standards for themselves and are engaging in better behavior because of it. And so more than anything, I just wanted to say that one of the final outcomes that was a huge benefit to us is it did give us a seat at the prevention table. The county prevention coordinator did start funding our program, which I'm not sure that anyone else in the state, I mean, it's possible, has had that opportunity, but it gave us opportunities to speak a language on a level with the other prevention programs and prevention categories, I guess you would say, silos. It allowed us to be on par with them and work alongside of them.